My sister's new fiancé, accidentally, sent me a photo of me sleeping, and when I confronted him she called me a jealous liar who was trying to ruin her fairy tale. I need to know if I'm the one who's lost my mind. The notification glowed on my screen, a sinister little beacon in the dark of my bedroom. It was from Liam. My sister's fiancé. A man who until 3 months ago didn't exist. My heart did a clumsy, painful stutter against my ribs. Why was he messaging me? It was past midnight. The polite, family-approved channels of communication had closed hours ago after the most tense and disastrous dinner of our lives. My thumb hovered over the screen, a cold knot of dread tightening in my stomach. This couldn't be good. I took a breath and opened it. The image loaded slowly, a blur of pixels resolving into something horrifyingly intimate. It was a photo of me. A close-up, slightly off angle taken from above. I was asleep. Deeply asleep on my parents' living room couch earlier that afternoon, before the engagement dinner from hell had even begun. The throw pillow was mashed under my cheek, my mouth was slack and slightly open, and a strand of my dark hair was stuck to my lip gloss. I looked peaceful, yes, but also profoundly vulnerable and completely unaware. It was a stolen moment, a private state of being that had been captured without my knowledge or consent. The message below it made my blood freeze solid. Oops. Meant to send this to Chloe. You look so peaceful. The winky face. The casual breezy oops. It was the most blatant, pathetic, and terrifying lie I had ever been told. This was no accident. This was a calculated move. A predator testing the electric fence. A power play designed to let me know in no uncertain terms that he was watching. That my boundaries were irrelevant. That he could invade my most private spaces. My unconsciousness, my own family's home, and reframe it as a friendly, almost brotherly gesture. The sheer audacity of it, the gaslighting embedded in that single emoji, made a wave of nausea roll through me. I shot upright in bed, the duvet tangling around my legs. My heart was no longer stuttering. It was a frantic drum against my sternum. How? Why? When had he even taken this? I mentally scrambled through the day's events. I'd arrived at my parents' house early, around 2 p.m. to help my mom prep the meal. Exhausted from a week of brutal deadlines at the design firm, I'd claimed the living room couch for a 20-minute power nap, while the pot roast was in the oven. The house had been quiet. Or so I'd thought. I remembered the faint creak of a floorboard, but I'd written it off as the old house settling or my dad puttering in his study. I'd been so wrong. He'd been there, watching me, taking pictures of me. The violation felt like a physical stain on my skin. I didn't think. My body moved on pure, white-hot adrenaline. I fumbled with my phone, my fingers clumsy with rage and fear, and took a screenshot of the entire exchange. His message, the photo, his name at the top of the screen. Evidence. I needed evidence because I knew, with a chilling certainty that felt like ice water in my veins, what was coming next. I immediately called Chloe. She was the only one who could fix this. He had to see this for what it was. She answered on the third ring, her voice a little husky, a little breathless. Maya? Hey, what's up? Everything okay? I could hear faint music in the background, something smooth and jazzy. Their music. The music of their new, perfect, isolated life. Chloe, I need you to listen to me very carefully and do not interrupt, I said, my voice trembling with the effort to keep it steady. Liam just sent me a picture. A private picture. He sent me a photo of me sleeping on Mom's couch today. There was a long, dead silence on the other end. I could practically hear the gears turning in her head, the immediate defensive walls slamming down. Then came a faint, disbelieving and utterly dismissive laugh. It was a sound that cut deeper than any anger could have. What? That's weird. That's a little weird. He must have been going through his camera roll looking for photos from dinner to send to Mom, and he just got the threads mixed up. You know how iMessage can be. Got confused. The steadiness in my voice shattered. Chloe, he took a picture of me sleeping without my knowledge. He invaded my privacy in the most creepy way possible, and then he sent it directly to me with a winky face. That's not confusion. That's not a little weird. That's predatory. It's calculating. It's creepy as hell. Her voice turned cold and hard, the warmth from seconds ago completely gone. Don't use that tone with me. And don't you dare call him that. It was an accident, Maya. A simple, stupid accident. You are reading way too much into this. You've been looking for a reason to hate him since the moment you laid eyes on him. You and Mom and Dad just can't stand that I'm finally happy with someone you didn't handpick for me. I was speechless. The gaslighting was so swift, so efficient, it left me mentally winded. She was already parroting his excuses before he'd even had a chance to give them to her. He had gotten to her that completely. I'm sending you the screenshot right now, I said, my words tight and clipped. Look at it. Look at the photo. Look at the message. Look at that fucking winky face, Chloe, and tell me with a straight face that this is normal, acceptable behavior for the man you're going to marry. I heard the muffled sound of her putting her hand over the receiver. A low, murmured conversation ensued. I couldn't make out the words, but I could imagine his performance. The wounded expression, the earnest apologies, the claims of a clumsy mistake. She came back on the line a minute later, her voice shaking now, but with anger directed solely at me. I showed him. He's mortified. He's right here, he wants to apologize to you himself. He was trying to send it to me because he thought you looked cute and sisterly like part of the family, and he just fat-fingered the wrong message thread. That's... was... You are so determined to see him as a villain, so obsessed with this narrative that he's some kind of monster, that you're twisting an innocent, silly mistake into something disgusting and perverted. An innocent mistake? I was yelling now, tears of pure frustration and betrayal springing to my eyes, hot and blinding. He's lying to you, Chloe. Can't you see that? He's manipulating you, and now he's testing the waters with me. This is what these guys do. They isolate you, they drive a wedge between you and everyone who loves you, and they start seeing how much they can get away with. He's targeting me to see what you'll let him do. Targeting you? Her laugh was sharp and scornful. Oh my God, Maya, the ego on you. You really think my fiancé, the love of my life, is targeting you? Maybe he's just trying to be friendly. Maybe he's trying to include you in our lives because he knows you're important to me, and you're just a paranoid, jealous bitch because you're not the center of my attention anymore. Her words were a sledgehammer to my chest. The air left my lungs in a painful whoosh. Jealous bitch. My own sister. The one I'd shared a room with for 15 years. The one I'd held while she cried over broken hearts and failed exams. The one whose hair I'd held back when she was sick. She had chosen him. Completely and utterly. If you can't be happy for me, she hissed, her voice low and venomous, dripping with a contempt I'd never heard from her before. If you can't even extend the basic courtesy of believing him when he makes a simple human error, then you are out of my life. I'm done. We're done. Don't contact me again. Don't text, don't call, don't send me any of your evidence. Don't contact me until you're ready to give a genuine, heartfelt apology to both Liam and me for this hysterical, vicious accusation. The line went dead with a final, deafening click. I sat there in the profound silence of my dark bedroom, trembling so violently my teeth chattered. The cold glow of my phone's screen illuminated the tears now streaming freely down my face. The screenshot of my own sleeping, violated image stared back at me. I felt gutted. I felt unheard, betrayed, and terrifyingly alone in my knowledge of what this was. My own sister had chosen a man she'd known for 3 months. A man who took clandestine, intimate photos of her sleeping sister, over me. Over a lifetime of shared history. Over her entire family. The numbness began to recede, replaced by a frantic, protective energy. I opened my family's group chat. My parents, my younger brother, Ben. Our safe space. Our sanctuary of stupid memes and grocery lists and planning Dad's birthday. With shaking hands, I attached the screenshot. I didn't write a novel. I didn't need to. The picture screamed for itself. I typed 3 words, he sent this. I hit send. The response was immediate and volcanic. My phone exploded into a cacophony of chimes and vibrations. Ben, what? Mom, oh my God. Maya, when was this taken? Are you okay? Honey, answer me. Dad, calling you now. My phone rang instantly. It was my dad. His voice was a low, dangerous growl I'd only heard a handful of times in my life. Maya, are you safe? Are you in your apartment? Is your door locked? Do you want me to come over right now? The sheer, primal protectiveness in his voice broke me. I started sobbing in earnest, unable to form words, just crying into the phone while he stayed on the line, a steady, furious presence. It's okay, baby girl. It's okay. We believe you. We see it. We see him. My mom called on the other line. I switched over. She was crying, her voice thick with tears and a fear I knew all too well. I knew it. I knew there was something off about him. The way he looked at you at the barbecue. I felt it in my bones. Oh, my poor girl. I'm so sorry. They believed me without a second's hesitation. There was no questioning, no. Are you sure it wasn't an accident? They saw the violation for what it was. Their unwavering belief was a life raft in the churning icy water of my sister's betrayal. But it didn't matter. It didn't change the facts. Less than an hour later, a new notification popped up in the family group chat. It was from Chloe. I'm leaving this group. I can't believe you would all gang up on me and Liam like this over a stupid misunderstanding. You've always been a hateful, judgmental little club and I want no part of it. Enjoy your echo chamber. We are happy without you. And then the final gut-wrenching twist of the knife. Chloe has left the conversation. A moment later, a final, separate text from her lit up my personal phone. I'm blocking all of you. Don't try to find me. And just like that, she was gone. That was a week ago. 7 days of the most profound and unsettling silence of my life. The family chat, once a vibrant and silly daily lifeline, is now a somber place. We still message, but it's strained. Kickens. How are you holding up? Have you heard anything? Love you. The joy has been leached out of it. I am a mess of conflicting, corrosive emotions. I'm devastated. The grief is a physical ache, a constant hollow pain in my chest for the sister I've lost, for the relationship that has been so callously severed. I'm furious. At Liam, the master manipulator, the snake who slithered into our garden, and at Chloe for being so willingly blind, for so easily discarding us. I'm racked with guilt. Was I too harsh? Should I have just ignored the photo? Should I have played along, laughed it off, pretended it was a funny oopsie to keep the peace? Could I have prevented this nuclear fallout if I'd been more diplomatic? But a bigger, stronger, more terrified part of me knows what I saw. I know what that message was. It wasn't a mistake. It was a threat. A grooming tactic. A test of his control over both of us. He was seeing how far he could push, how much he could violate, and whether Chloe would still defend him. She did. She passed his test with flying colors. She handed him the keys to her life and bolted the door against the rest of us. Now I'm lying awake every night, the image of that photo burned onto the backs of my eyelids. I'm sick with a worry so profound it feels like a chronic illness. What is he doing to her behind the closed doors of that apartment he convinced her to move into? Is he tightening his control grip by grip? Is he cutting her off from her friends too? Is he monitoring her phone, her emails? Is he whispering lies in her ear about how her family never really loved her, how we're all just jealous of her happiness? The hardest part isn't even the bitter betrayal. It's the helplessness. The agonizing, excruciating waiting. Waiting for the other shoe to drop. Waiting for the phone to ring in the middle of the night with a call from a hospital or a police station. Waiting for her to show up on our doorstep with a broken spirit, or worse, for her to never show up at all. We're trapped in a nightmare of our own making, watching a train wreck in slow motion, powerless to stop it because the conductor has convinced the passenger that the people on the platform, the ones screaming for her to get off, are the real enemies. I feel completely and utterly helpless. Yes, my sister. And all I have is a screenshot, a sick feeling in my stomach, and the desperate, fading hope that she'll remember who she is before it's too late. The second week of silence was worse than the first. The initial shock had worn off, leaving behind a raw, grinding anxiety. It was like living with a constant, low-grade hum of dread. Every time my phone buzzed, my heart would leap into my throat, a Pavlovian response of fear and hope. Was it her? Was she finally reaching out? Had she seen the light? It never was. My parents were crumbling under the strain. My mom, usually the vibrant, energetic heart of our family, moved through the house like a ghost. She'd set the table for 4 out of habit, then stare at Chloe's empty chair, her eyes welling up before she'd quickly remove the extra setting. She spent hours in her garden, aggressively pruning roses, her sadness manifesting as a fierce, silent concentration on the task at hand. My dad's anger had solidified into a hard, impenetrable wall. He stopped talking about it altogether. He'd retreat to his workshop in the garage, the sound of saws and sanding machines filling the air for hours. He was building his worry into something tangible, something he could control. But at night I'd see him staring out the living room window, his shoulders slumped, a man watching for a child who might never come home. My brother, Ben, dealt with it by immersing himself in frantic activity. He was over at my parents' house constantly mowing the lawn, fixing a leaky faucet, anything to keep busy. He was 22, and the big brother protectiveness he'd always felt for both of us was now a source of immense frustration because he had no outlet for it. "I just want 5 minutes in a room with that guy," he'd mutter to me, his fists clenched. Just 5 minutes. We were all grieving. We were mourning the living. I tried to focus on work, but my creativity had flatlined. I'd stare at my computer screen, the vibrant colors and sleek fonts of my design projects seeming trivial and meaningless. How could I care about kerning and Pantone shades when my sister was in the clutches of a predator? My boss, a kind woman named Sarah, noticed my distraction and pulled me aside. "Maya, is everything okay? You've seemed distant lately." The concern in her voice was my undoing. The whole story came tumbling out in a choked, tearful rush. I showed her the screenshot. Her face paled. "Oh honey, that's not a mistake. I'm so sorry." He gave me the rest of the day off. "Go be with your family," she said gently. "This is more important." I drove to my parents' house, not knowing what else to do. We sat in the kitchen, the three of us, not saying much. The silence was heavy, but it was a shared weight. We were just together, a unit of three, holding our breath. Then a breakthrough. A tiny, fragile thread. My mom's phone buzzed. It was a text from Janice, Chloe's best friend since college. "Hey Mrs. F. Haven't heard from Chloe in over a week. She's not answering any texts and she canceled on our lunch plans twice with really vague excuses. Is everything okay with her? I'm getting worried." My mom's hands shook as she typed a reply. We huddled around her, a council of war. "We're worried too, Janice. She and Liam got engaged very suddenly and there was a bit of a falling out with the family. We haven't heard from her either. He's blocked us." The three typing dots appeared immediately. Then Janice's response. "Engaged. What? She didn't tell me that. That's insane. She's only known him for a hot second." And yeah, that tracks. The last time I saw her, maybe 2 weeks ago, he was with her the whole time. It was supposed to be a girls' coffee, but he just stayed. He ordered for her, finished her sentences. It was weird. She seemed kind of tense, but she kept laughing everything off, saying he was just a stage 5 clinger in a cute way. I didn't like it. My blood ran cold. He was already isolating her, cutting her off from her support system piece by piece. First us, now her friends. "Janice," I typed for my mom, "have you tried calling her? Like actually calling?" "Yeah, just now." It went straight to voicemail. I left a message saying I was worried and to please call me back. "Can you do me a huge favor?" I wrote. "Can you let us know if you hear from her? Anything at all. Just so we know she's okay." Of course, Janice replied instantly. "Absolutely. I'll try her again tonight. This is really scary." Having an ally on the outside, someone else who could see the cracks, was a small comfort. But it also confirmed our worst fears. The isolation was intentional and it was working. 2 more days passed. The silence was deafening. We were all jumping at shadows. Then on a Thursday afternoon my phone rang. It was an unknown number. My breath caught. I answered, my voice hesitant. "Hello. Maya? It's Janice." "Janice. Hi. Did you hear from her?" "No," she said, and her voice was tight, strained. "No, but I did something. I feel a little creepy about it, but I was so worried. I drove by her apartment after work." My grip on the phone tightened. And his car was there. But her car wasn't. And all the blinds were drawn. Completely. And she never closes her blinds. He loves the natural light. It was just, the whole place looked dark. Closed off. It felt wrong. A new, more terrifying thought occurred to me. "Janice, do you know if she's even still living there?" There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Oh my God. I didn't even think of that. You think he moved her out already?" "I don't know," I said, the feeling of helplessness surging back stronger than ever. "But if he did, we have no idea where she is." The nightmare had just expanded. She wasn't just ignoring us. She might be gone. The revelation that Chloe might have already been moved out of her own apartment sent us into a fresh tailspin. My dad, the man of action, couldn't stand it anymore. "That's it," he announced that evening, his voice leaving no room for argument. "I'm going over there. I'm going to knock on the damn door. I need to see her face. I need to know she's okay." "Bill, no," my mom pleaded, her face etched with fear. What if he's there? What if it makes things worse? She told us not to contact her. I don't care what she told us, he roared, slamming his hand on the kitchen table. The force of it made the salt and pepper shakers jump. She's my daughter. I have a right to know if she's safe. I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to cause a scene. I'm just going to check. I drove him. I couldn't let him go alone. We parked a little way down the street from her apartment building, a cute duplex she'd been so proud to rent on her own. It looked exactly as Janice had described. Dark, silent, all the blinds pulled tight like closed eyelids. Her designated parking spot was empty. A hollow feeling spread through my chest. We walked up the path to her door. The potted ferns she usually kept on her porch were gone. The welcome mat was missing. My dad's steps slowed, his resolve seeming to waver as the evidence mounted. He took a deep breath and rang the doorbell. We waited. The silence from within was absolute. He rang again, longer this time. Nothing. He knocked, his fist firm against the wood. Chloe? It's Dad. Are you in there? Honey, we're just worried. Please answer the door. More silence. Then we heard it. The faint sound of a floorboard creaking inside. Someone was home. My dad's eyes met mine, a flicker of hope in them. The door unlocked and swung open a few inches. But it wasn't Chloe. It was Liam. He stood in the crack of the doorway wearing a tight-fitting t-shirt and sweatpants, looking like he'd just been working out. He didn't open the door fully, blocking our view inside. His expression was a masterclass in passive-aggressive annoyance. Bill. Maya, he said, his voice flat. This is a surprise. Where's Chloe, Liam? My dad asked, his voice impressively steady despite the tension radiating from him. She's resting, Liam said smoothly. It's been a stressful week. As you can imagine, the drama with her family has taken a toll on her. She's asked not to be disturbed. I want to see her, my dad said, his tone leaving no room for negotiation. Liam's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. The friendly, charming facade was paper-thin. I'm afraid that's not possible. She needs her space. She needs to recover from the emotional beating you all gave her. I couldn't stay silent. We just want to know she's okay, Liam. We haven't heard from her in over a week. Her friends haven't heard from her. Her car is gone. His cold eyes flicked to me, and for a split second the mask slipped entirely. I saw a flash of pure, unadulterated contempt. Her car is in the shop. And as for her friends and family, he said, emphasizing the word with a sneer, she's re-evaluating a lot of her relationships. She's realizing who truly supports her and who just wants to drag her down. Let me talk to her, my dad insisted, taking a half step forward. Liam didn't budge. He actually shifted to block the doorway more completely. I said no. She doesn't want to talk to you. Now, I'm going to ask you to leave before I have to call the police for trespassing. The threat hung in the air. My dad, a law-abiding man his entire life, looked momentarily stunned. This man, this stranger, was threatening to have him arrested for trying to check on his own daughter. You tell her, my dad said, his voice dropping to a low, dangerous register I'd never heard before, that her mother and I are here. We will always be here. No matter what. You tell her that. Liam just smirked. It was a small, ugly expression. I'll pass along the message. Now have a good day. He closed the door in our faces. The deadbolt turned with a loud, final thunk. We stood there on the porch, utterly defeated. We had confirmation. He was in there. But she was his prisoner and he was the warden. The drive home was silent. The hope we'd briefly felt was gone, replaced by a deeper, more profound despair. He had her. He had completely and utterly cut her off. We were powerless. The next few days were a blur of helpless frustration. We debated calling the police for a wellness check, but we were terrified it would backfire, that Liam would use it as further proof that we were unstable and intrusive, driving Chloe even deeper into his arms. We were trapped in a nightmare of his design. And then the storm broke. It was a Tuesday night, raining hard, the kind of downpour that rattles the windows. I was lying on my couch, trying and failing to read a book when my phone lit up. It was a call. From Chloe. My heart stopped. She was calling. She was finally calling. I swiped to answer, my hand shaking. Chloe? Chloe, are you okay? There was no greeting. Only the sound of ragged, panicked breathing. Then her voice so quiet I had to press the phone hard against my ear to hear it. It was a thin, terrified whisper. Maya? Can you come get me? Please. I was on my feet in an instant, my book clattering to the floor. Where are you? Are you safe? Where's Liam? I'm at the 24-hour gas station on Elm and 5th. I ran. I don't have my car. Please just come. Please. Her voice broke on a sob. I'm on my way. Right now. Stay there. Go inside the store. Stay where it's bright and public. I'm coming. I didn't even hang up. I shoved my feet into shoes, grabbed my keys and wallet and flew out the door, calling my dad as I ran to my car. Dad, it's Chloe. She called. She's at the gas station on Elm and 5th. She ran. He sounds terrified. I'm going to get her. I'm coming with you, he said, and I could hear him already moving, jangling his own keys. I'll meet you out front. Drive safe, Maya. The 20-minute drive was a nightmare of adrenaline and fear. The rain was a solid sheet of water, my wipers struggling to keep up. I ran 2 red lights on empty streets, my heart hammering. All I could see in my mind was her terrified face. All I could hear was her whisper. I screeched into my parents' driveway. My dad was already waiting under the porch light, his face pale and set. He jumped into the passenger seat and we sped off into the night. We found her exactly where she said she'd be. Huddled on the wet curb under the harsh fluorescent lights of the gas station, soaked to the skin. She was wearing only a thin t-shirt and a pair of leggings. No coat. No shoes. She was just hugging her knees, rocking slightly, her face pale and streaked with rain and tears. When our headlights washed over her, she flinched. Then she recognized my car and scrambled to her feet, her movements jerky with fear and cold. She yanked the passenger door open and practically fell into the back seat, sobbing uncontrollably. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, she choked out between ragged breaths, her whole body shaking violently. You have nothing to be sorry for, my dad said, his voice thick with emotion. He reached back and gripped her knee, his hand trembling. You're safe now, baby girl. You're safe. We've got you. I looked at her in the rearview mirror. Her eyes were wide and wild, like a spooked animal. There was a faint red mark on her cheek. I put the car in drive and pulled away, my only thought to put as much distance between us and that place as possible. We got her back to my parents' house. My mom was waiting at the door, her face a mask of fear and relief. She wrapped Chloe in a giant fluffy towel and then in a crushing hug, murmuring soothing words as she led her inside, away from the night, away from the rain, away from him. She was safe. For now she was safe. The waiting was over. The real work was about to begin.